Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes before we start. Looks like people are still joining, so just give it a couple minutes and we'll start the webinar. All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin. I'm part of the customer success team here at Mindflash. I also have my manager, Jason McMurray, with me today. Thank you all for joining. Looks like we have quite a group today, so I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to get started. Um, Before we do, I have a couple housekeeping items to note. First, this webinar will be recorded and emailed to everyone who registered. If you have any colleagues who couldn't attend the session for some reason or know anyone who could benefit from what we're covering today, please feel free to forward the recording to them. And also note that a recording of this webinar will be available on the Mindflash YouTube channel, along with all other recorded webinars. So feel free to go there to find it. And secondly, this webinar is specifically about the new report options within Mindflash, but we are here to answer any questions you may have. So please feel free to submit questions in the GoToMeeting window on the right side of your screen throughout the presentation, and we will go over them together at the end. All right, great. So that's all the housekeeping items I had. Let's get started. All right. So yeah, thank you again for joining. Very excited to walk you all through the new reporting options that are now available in Mindflash. They have been available now since Mindflash updated to UI about a month ago, which was a great improvement to the product. And we really hope that you all agree that it was a great improvement and you're all enjoying the new experience. As with any significant changes, please note everything you were previously able to do on Mindflash is still possible, and we're hoping that more is possible. Specifically, bulk actions you need to take on your trainees should be more efficient. So today's agenda is going to start with covering advanced reports, which was previously available on Mindflash, and then your new reports your new reporting options. And I will go over where you can find them, how to filter and export to Excel, and then in the end answer any additional questions you may have. So now that we've introduced the left navigation, as you can see, the advanced reports, which you used to find on the top right of Mindflash, are available at the bottom left of the left nav. So if you click reports, you will see what you previously saw in your advanced reports with the tabs, the overview tab, the courses tab, trainees tab, series, and exports tabs, and as well as all the filters you previously saw. So yeah, nothing's changed there. Just where to get to it is the left navigation on the reports tab. So your advanced reports still update as they used to, once a day for advanced tier customers and 3 times a day for pro tier customers. So on the advanced tier, it'd be first thing in the morning, around 6 a.m. Pacific time. On the pro tier, 3 times a day, so around 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m., give or take. And on the report in your advanced reports, you know, obviously the overview tab gives you really high level information. Your courses tab is where you can find course specific information. You can hit that pull down course name menu, and you can drop down and find the course you're looking for data on. One thing I really wanted to point out on the courses tab is the quiz details section. So the quiz details section is where you can go to find a list of your quizzes in a course, and when you click on the quiz title, you'll find a pop-up will appear that will show you a list of the questions answered in said quiz and the percentage of trainees that answered those questions correctly or incorrectly. This is really valuable information in case you feel like the content of the course needs to be improved. You know, obviously, if you find most of your trainees are answering a specific question incorrectly, then the content needs to be updated to make sure that they're learning what they need to learn. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. There's a ton of great valuable information you can find on the courses tab in your advanced reports, but the quiz details area is can easily be overlooked, but it is really valuable information. So on the trainees tab, this is where you can go to find specific trainee performance on all their courses. So if you're looking to export a trainee transcript, this is where you'll find it. You know, you'll use that drop down to find a specific trainee on your Mindflash account, and then find a list of all the courses they've been invited to and asked to complete. And this is where you can go to export that full list of courses. And then from the series tab, if you're using the Mindflash series feature, this is where you can go to find out, you know, how your trainees are performing on specific series. And if you scroll down, you can even export a series report, which will let you know how each of your trainees in the series has performed. And then there's also course level reports, so you can see how they performed in specific course or on specific courses in the series. And of course, the exports tab. So this is where all your data lives. This is going to contain the breadth of all the data you have on Mindflash. So if you need to, as you can see, you know, export all your user information, all courses, all series, all course users, all series users, this is where you'll go. And for example, if you go to export all courses, you'll be able to see a list of all your courses. And if you click that little faint gray triangle next to courses, and that faint gray triangle appears on all the pages in your advanced reports. Anywhere there's data, you'll see a little faint gray triangle, which you click, and that's going to allow you to download that information to, as you can see, PDF, Excel, CSV, and once exported in those file types, you'll be able to, well, not PDF, but Excel and CSV, you'll be able to manipulate it and then share it with whomever you need to. Yeah. And yeah, I realized that I went through that a little quickly. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and we'll cover it. And we can even go over it live after I get through all these slides. All right, so here we are. This is really the highlight of today's webinar, is the new report options within Mindflash. And I know it may not sound as if I'm super excited by it. I'm super excited to demonstrate these to you. So, new report options. So these reporting options are available for each course, series, and live training you have on your Mindflash account. Trainees can be filtered. It's all exportable to Excel, and it is real time. Let me say it again. Real time. I'm sure there are plenty of customers on the call right now or on the webinar right now who have had to wait until their advanced reports were refreshed or synced to see how the trainees performed or whether courses or series were completed, but this is all available real time. So if someone were to complete a course this very second, you can go to that course, refresh it, and see that they've completed it. I know this is incredible. I'll give you guys a second to realize how amazing this is. All right, so when you go to a specific course and you go to the Trainees tab, this is where you'll find the new report options in Mindflash. You'll see here that all the data you see from the Trainees tab can now be exported, and you can expose different information that you have in Mindflash by clicking that cogwheel on the far right. So you can change what you see and what you export really easily. So I'll just show you quickly what that looks like. So first I should let you know. So it's available. So the new reporting is available on the Trainees tab, in courses, in series, and in live training. And this is where you're going to go to specifically determine what data is available in the reports that you export. So if you click that small cogwheel on the far right of your Mindflash, all the information you see here, and if you scroll down, you'll see all your custom field information can be exposed. So for example, if you're not using usernames, you can hide that. If you want to see the progress of your trainees in a course, you can expose that. If you want to know the completion date, you can expose that. And please note, this is all sticky. So once you expose this data and leave Mindflash, when you come back, it'll still be there. So it's very important to understand that, yeah, you're not going to have to go in and expose just the information you need every time. Like, it will just stick to whatever you've chosen to expose. And there's a filter. There are filters you can apply now. So when you click that filter icon, you'll see basic filters. So you'll be able to select, the progress that your trainees are in, or the state that they're in. And if you go to your advanced filters, you'll be able to filter for more information. So if you want to see trainees that are maybe just a member of a specific group, maybe they're invited within a specific date range, or maybe they completed the course or series within a specific date range, you can apply those and hit filter, and then you will see that. And then to export everything you see on the Trainees tab, you'll click that Export Data button, and you'll see that you'll be able to filter by just the trainees that, or you'll be able to export just by the trainees that have been filtered, or all trainees. And I will now show you real time what that looks like. So, all right, so obviously this is your advanced reports. One thing I want to point out for advanced reports is any of the data that you see on this page can be clicked. A pop-up will appear, and all this data can be exported. So, when you come to your advanced reports, you're going to see a ton of numbers. You're going to go in, you're going to go, let's go to a specific course. 7 laws of customer success, yeah. And so all these numbers, may look great to you, and you're just like, okay, what do I do with it? Just click on it. Seriously, if you want to download this information, if you want to see specifically, who passed this course, you want to produce a report for just those trainees, you can see it, you can download it. It's really easy. The trainee report here, so this is the trainee report for this specific course. If you want to see how everyone who's been invited to this course has performed in it, whether they've even taken it or not, feel free to download it. Also note, all the column titles that you find here can be clicked and then can sort ascending or descending by just simply clicking. So if you won't need to sort, obviously, yeah, that's descending. But if you want to sort by last name ascending, just simply click that column title and you'll see that information. And now, when going to the new report options, which I'm still excited about. I know you guys can't tell by the sound of my voice, but super exciting. So a couple of things I wanted to point out. So it may not be super obvious, but if you need to download a trainee certificate for a specific course, this little metal icon here can be clicked, and that will download that certificate. So obviously now you'll see, okay, here's Kevin's certificate for this course. So I know a lot of my customers always, or they need to maybe keep a record of who's passed the course, and certificates are an easy way to do that. If you need to file that information, or if you need to actually print those certificates out and file them in any way, you can simply click this little icon here, and that will download this certificate. Also, if you're looking to find out how specific trainees answered questions in a course or in a quiz, I know I've gotten this question from a bunch of my customers. They're unsure how to find that information. It was pretty obvious in the old Mindflash where to find it. So first thing to do is you're going to have to expose the quiz scores data in this cogwheel. So if you scroll down, you'll find quiz scores. Make sure that's checked. And once it is, this column will appear, and you'll be able to go in when you click on this specific quiz score and be able to see the list of the questions, how they performed on each question, and how they answered each one. So I wanted to make sure I demonstrated that to everybody because I've been receiving this answer or this question from a number of my customers because they need to know exactly how trainees answered specific questions in their quizzes. All right, great. Cool. So that is all I had to really go through as far as prepared materials for the webinar. And now let's see what questions we have.
All right, so we have a few questions around how the actual reporting works. So I think probably the best thing to do is if we just jump into a demo portal here, then we can explicitly show some of these things and how they work. So Kevin, if you want to bring that up, we can kind of just talk through there, talk through those various questions. Okay, so first question is, during the latest upgrades to the system with some information lost, that have some classes not being reported on the reporting side and others only showing up in the user screen. So this should not be a situation. So I have your name and your contact info, so we'll reach out to you. I'll have your CSM reach out to you. I think actually it might be Kevin. We'll reach out to you and figure out what's going on. Just to be 100% clear with everyone, any upgrades to the user interface, so the design of the site and the functionality, is not impacting the database at all. So everything that was there should be there. So if you have any question about that, it could be a question of where it appears or how to access that information. Feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to spend 5 minutes with you on the phone, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to get that straightened out for you and make sure you get everything you need. So we'll reach out on this one and get that straightened out. I have people still failing with the final passing grade. Not sure what is happening. Can you go over the passing system for courses with multiple quizzes? So this is a common issue that people face, and the reason for that is that there's 2 different areas where you can set passing scores. So Kevin, if you want to pull up a quiz real quick, we can show both of them. And what I will do ultimately is direct you to our help center, which is help.mindflash.com. And if you search for quiz scoring or course scoring, it will take you to a help document that outlines this very explicitly, and I highly recommend you follow that. I will describe it now, but it's probably best if you just have that help document open I had someone I discussed this with yesterday and directed her to that, and she said it was very helpful. So I think that's a really good place to go to get this perfectly straightened out. But what's happening is there are two ways you can set passing scores for a course, or both of them impact the passing for a course. The first one, as you can see here, is each of the quizzes in the bottom left-hand corner has this quiz passing score checkbox that you can turn on and off. What this does is it sets the passing score for this individual quiz. So in this case, if it's checked, you have to get greater than a 60% score to pass this quiz. If you have multiple quizzes, you could have this turned on for multiple quizzes. You could have different scores for multiple quizzes. There's also a function, if you want to just jump into the course passing score and show where that is, there's also a function that says that they have to have a minimum passing score for the entire course. Kevin is showing that here. So what this function does is it averages the scores of all of the quizzes that are in the course and says they have to be better than, in this case, 100, or they have to be 100%. So what that means is that in the scenario we're describing here, you could pass the quiz that he showed with a 70% because the minimum passing score was 60. So you would effectively pass that quiz, but you wouldn't pass the course because you have to have a 100% score for the course. So that's where you get the scenario where they're passing a quiz or failing a quiz and then subsequently doing the opposite for the entire course. So again, I'll direct you to that help document. If you search for quiz scoring in our help.mindflash.com, it explicitly lays that out and is very straightforward when you follow that. But as a general rule, if you only have one quiz in your course, there's no need to use the course passing score. It will automatically give them the appropriate score and say whether or not they passed based on the one quiz that's in there. If you have multiple quizzes, then you should consider whether or not you should use that score. You wouldn't, or the course passing score. You wouldn't use it in every scenario, but it's certainly an option. So that's what you want to look at. If you take a look at the help doc and that doesn't make sense, and you still have questions or it's still causing problems for you, just let us know. We're happy to walk through it with you and kind of walk through explicitly in your specific course and get you the right answer. But I can guarantee with a lot of experience that that is exactly what's going on and we face on a regular basis. So it's a lot of flexibility, but it can also be a lot of settings that get confusing. So certainly let us know and we can help you out. How can I set the date range and keep it as the default range? So I think the question here is because there are two types of reports in Mindflash. There's the advanced reports and then the track tab reports. There's two different functions there. In the advanced reports, the date range is not sticky. And unfortunately, we can't make it sticky. So that is something that we have to live with because of the reporting tool that we use. So that, unfortunately, is going to be the case. For the reports that are the real-time reports on the track tab, they are sticky. So if you jump from, if you set like a week date range, or you say, it's between the 1st and the 7th of the month, and you jump between courses, you log out, you come back in, that will still be there. And again, that's the ones that are available on the user, the courses, well, there's no date on the users, but on courses, live courses, series, all of those have a date range that's available within the trainees tab here. So as you see, as Kevin's going through it, like if you want to do the invited date is between a week range, you could do that and then come back in and it would persist. And the other thing to note with all of these advanced filters is they persist across courses. So if we had a date range that's like a week long here, and then we click on one of these other course names in the background, it would flip us to the trainees tab for that course, and it has the same filter as what we previously had on the course, the first course. So if you just, just start the date there and then choose an end date, we'll just show what it looks like. Okay, so there's our date range. We're filtering. And in this case, we only have one result. And you click on the next course, you'll see that it still says filters on at the top. That's because the date range is also applied to this course. So this is a really quick way to jump between screens and keep all of the same information. So if you're trying to look across multiple courses to see like all the people that are in a failed status or something like that, you could very easily do that, or people that started a course within a certain date range. So that date is persistent. Again, the dates in the advanced reports, which are on the reporting tab, are not persistent, and unfortunately, we can't change that behavior. So that is something that we're all going to have to live with. We have contractors that may do one course every 6 months. Is there a way of running a report on contractors that are active but not enrolled in any course?
By inactive, do you mean?
No, they're just not taking courses.
They're just not taking courses, but they are a account. If they're not actively enrolled in a course,
there's no way to run like a user report that shows that.
Yeah, you have to be a user, meaning invited to a course to actually appear in the data on it. Either obviously in the new reporting, because it's just through the list of courses, series, and live trainings, but also in reports.
I don't think that there is that report. I will double check that to just be 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure that that does not exist. So I will take that as a note. That might be something we may be able to put into a filter in the users for a future enhancement. So definitely we'll take that as a note, and we'll pass that on to our product team. I appreciate that question. Just as a quick note on any of that sort of stuff, obviously this recent release was a big step forward for us in order to be able to do all this stuff and offer this real-time reporting. We have added significant features to where we were prior to that release, as well as brought parity with everything that was there prior to the release. So everything that was there before still exists, but we've added a lot on top of that. We'll continue to enhance this as time comes, or time moves on. So if you guys do have specific filters that you like to see or anything like that, don't be afraid to let us know, and we won't be able to add them in tonight, but we'll put it on our list of enhancement requests, and we'll work through those in the future. For all of our folks that have been around for 3, 4, 5 years, they can all attest to the fact that the system has changed significantly over that time period with a lot of enhancements. So we continue to work on the product. We will continue to work on the product. We have a lot of great things planned for the future. So if you do have enhancement requests, just let us know, and we consider those with our product team on a regular basis and work those into future releases. Okay, next question. If there are quiz retakes, does that affect the quiz score reporting? Is only the most recent result shown on all attempts? So the answer to that is yes. So if they've taken multiple attempts, whether it's on a quiz question or a course in general, what factors into their final score is their most recent attempt. We do have a function in there now that shows previous attempts. So any we log whether they've been reset by the admin, whether they've retaken the course themselves. So you would be able to go in and see kind of a history. That's something that we recently released, and a note on that tracks from that point going forward. So if you have someone who reset themselves in 2013, we don't have that data, unfortunately. But obviously, we're building up that data going forward, and we've done that since our last release, I think it was, probably about a month and a half ago. We would be logging that data. So you could go in and see previous attempts, but the only one that factors into reporting and the overall scores is their most recent.
And also note, so you can expose the number of completions that a trainee has had in a course if you click that cogwheel. So completions is something that can be exposed, so you can see how a trainee has taken a course.
When exporting all courses, can you exclude archived trainees or archived courses? So you can definitely exclude archived trainees. If you go into the advanced reports and go to the export all courses. So just as I think Kevin mentioned this as he was going through this, but this export all courses and users, these are really powerful. This drops it into Excel. And then you can do, any number of things in Excel. So this is a really great way to get at the data and be able to do, whatever manipulating you want to do. But you see in the drop-down that Kevin has, that's your active or archived and you can come in here and choose just the active customers. What this will not do, if you were to do the export all courses and users, is filter out your archived courses. So one thing you may consider for archived courses, if you go in and add something to the title of the course before you archive it to indicate that it's archived and no longer used, that would reflect in the reports, so you could easily filter based on that. So if you wanted to, put an A in front of it or something just to indicate that it's archived, or a Z or something, you might do that. And then when you sort your courses and your users, you can just sort all the Z's to the bottom of the list in Excel and then just cut those out. So relatively easy. It's kind of one more step, but it's a relatively easy way to get rid of those for your reports. Okay, EEs are allowed to retake our courses if they fail. Can we see how many times they failed the course before passing it? Yeah, absolutely. So that's the retake function. And Kevin, if you want to go to like courses, for example, and choose one of your courses, we can show where that appears. I don't know if we're going to choose a user that has data, but if you just click on like your name. No. Yep. So what you see here is the completion history. So in this scenario, this user has only taken the course once, but if there were multiple entries where they had reset themselves, or even if I, as the admin, had reset them, you would see multiple lines below where the cursor is that say what those previous attempts were and when they were. The other thing is that the completions would increment at the top. So if they've completed it like 4 times, it would say they've completed it 4 times, but then obviously they just have that one time that contributes to their score. So that's a user-by-user situation, but you could go in and see that for an individual. That's really useful if you want to go in and see, kind of the progression of one of your users and see if they're having a really hard time getting to a passing score. That's where we most commonly see it, and that should give you that ability to do that. So you just, again, go to the course and then just click on a trainee, and it will reveal that detail. Let's see. Why are some filters sticky but others are not? Date ranges are not sticky. So for all of the reports that we're looking at right here, the real-time reports, all of those filters are sticky. The dates will remain sticky, and as well as any other filter we put in there. As I mentioned earlier, for the advanced reports that appear on the reporting tab, those are not, and unfortunately we can't make them sticky, but for any of the ones that you see in the product, like on the trainees tab, whether it's on courses, series, users, etc., those will remain sticky, including the date ranges. This is great. Just thank you. Just what I need for new virtual training program I'm rolling out. Will I be able to choose multiple series to include in results? Great question. So this question comes from a place of, can I export multiple series or the data for multiple series at the same time? So the other scenario where we see this is I want to export the results for multiple courses at the same time. Sort of the same concept. That is not a function yet of our live reports, the ones that appear as we're looking at now. It is a function of the advanced reports. As we just saw with those exports, there's the all courses, all users. There's also an all series, all users. Those are across all of your courses and series, and that would be where you would want to do those functions. As Kevin mentioned, those do update periodically, so it's not going to be real time, but that does give you all the information you're looking for and would be the place where you would want to go to do that. It is something that we're looking at adding to the actual within the product itself in the future, but at this time it's not a function. But duly noted, and we're looking at what we can do about that. what if I don't have reports listed on my left panel? My last category is catalogs. That would be pretty crazy. So I have not heard that, and we will reach out to you and find out why that is to get you going. So apologies on that, and we will figure out what's going on. As always, with any of these things, anything that you're confused on or looks like it might be a defect or whatever the case may be, please feel free to hit us up. You can just hit up help@mindflash.com. We are more than happy to figure out what's going on. If you have a customer success manager assigned to your account, certainly they're a resource for this stuff, but we recently beefed up our support group, so you will be getting faster, more thorough, and soon to be announced longer support hours coming at you. So feel free to reach out to that team. They are going great guns these days and giving good answers. And timely as well. So we'll get right on that and figure out what's going on. Is there a way to extend the date range to all dates? So my guess is that this is related to the advanced reports. So first of all, while we're on the real live reports here, if you have filters on, you'll notice that there's that reset all link to the bottom left-hand corner. If there's any filters applied, that is available here, and you can reset all of them. The other thing you'll see if you have filters applied is that there's just a little X next to what the filter is. You can just click that to remove it. So that's a really quick way of just blowing out your filter. Like if you had a date filter, for example, you just make it go away, and then it would be all dates. My suspicion is that this is more related to the advanced reports because those do have a fixed date window that is in here. Unfortunately, it's not possible to just apply to all. I think you actually do have to choose your date range on all of that. The date stuff is not, admittedly the most, the best or the easiest to use. The best thing that I can recommend on this is, since it does have these default filters, is if you just go in and type what the date is, like in the from, like if you wanted to push it way back into the past, you just go type it directly in that window right there. It will take that, and you can do it from the beginning of time or whenever you started as Mindflash, yeah, exactly, and then hit apply, and it would apply those dates. You didn't apply, but it would apply those dates. So that's the fastest way to do it. So apologies that that's not easier. We're always looking to make things easier, but that is not the case on that one now. Is there a document that's sent out that has a list of all the reports and how we access them? There is definitely a help document in our help center. If you're not familiar with our help center, I would strongly recommend you spend some time there. It's help.mindflash.com. There is the ability to browse all of those help documents there. There's also, you can go search for specific things. If there's ever anything that you just want a quick answer to, that's really your best resource. You can get an answer right away. We have quite a bit of documentation in there. We will continue to beef that up over time and make that better. So if there's anything you can't find in there, if you end up sending a help ticket and you just want to drop in there that like, hey, I searched for this and I couldn't figure it out, that's great for us to know because our intention is to make it as easy as possible for you. So just let us know. But there is a bunch of stuff in here on reporting. I would recommend you spend some time there. In terms of the list of all the reports that are available, I don't know if we have like just a comprehensive list. The reporting is really only available in a couple of areas. That would be the reports tab, as well as the trainees tab in the courses series and live courses. That's kind of a list. That's it for lack of a comprehensive list. That is the area where you can kind of browse through to see all the reports that are available. So you can certainly start there. The other thing I'll say is if there's some specific piece of information that you're trying to pull out of the system that you're struggling to get out, please let us know. We are well versed in the reporting and how we can get that sort of stuff. We've seen a lot of different approaches to this and can be somewhat creative in how we pull that out. So please let us know. We can help you with that. And if we don't have it, then it would go on our list of things that we might be able to enhance. Are you able to generate a report to see how many times a course or series has been retaken? I don't think we have that as a field in the. Do we have number of attempts as a field to add in the trainees tab?
Completion. Well, we have completions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is
right. I stand corrected.
Yeah. So yes, that information is available, and I think I showed this a few minutes earlier, but I'm sure the question came in before.
Yeah.
So
shows what I know. So again, if you just click on that cogwheel on the right-hand side, that gives you a list of all the things that you can include in your report. So a lot of different options there. That's where you would find it if you don't see it initially. It's off by default, just so you know. And then the other thing is on the export data, just to go over that again, at the top there, that will export the columns that you see here. If you do the filtered trainees, or even all trainees, it will export the columns that you see here. So just add the columns that you want before you export, and then you can do it that way. Well,
and I just wanted, and sorry, Jason, yeah.
Go for it.
So this is an example of what you would see if someone attempted to take a course multiple times. So 2 attempts here. First time they failed it, second time they passed it. So here's an example. Yeah.
Okay. While building a new course, it appears we are able to explain the course in a box which has spell check, though it seems there are other parts of the build out that it would be practical. Are plans to expand the spell check? Okay. So here's the deal with spell check. So you are correct. There are certain areas of the application where you cannot do that, namely the quiz questions. The reason you're seeing the ability to do spell check is because some browsers have that built into the system. And so most likely you're using something like Chrome, which is sort of our preferred browser. We support a bunch of different browsers, but life seems happier in Chrome, so I would recommend you use that just as a general endorsement if you're creating courses, that sort of stuff. All the functions work and everything else, but it's just Chrome seems to be the best behaving. Many of the browsers have the ability to turn on spell check when you're entering text into a text field. That only works for HTML pages, and this might be a little more technical than people want, but not all of our pages are in HTML at the moment. We're working toward that. At the point in which the pages are in HTML, then those functions would be turned on. So what you're currently describing is the course description, which is available when you start a course or you get going on a course. On the first tab of a course, that page is in HTML, and consequently, you can use the spell check or benefit from spell check. The quiz question creation tool is not in HTML yet, so it doesn't work there. That said, we are neck deep in an overhaul of our quiz and our arranger, which is where you add your content, moving all of that into HTML. We are moving entirely away from Flash for reasons, many reasons, but one of the benefits of that is that you will get spell check in those text boxes. So that will be coming soon. It will be several months. This is a massive project, but we've been working on it for quite some time now, and that's kind of the next step in our evolution or move to HTML. So look for that in the future. So sorry, that was a really long answer to a relatively straightforward question. Apologies. When we have it marked to see all employees, we find that not all of the archived employees are showing up in the reporting. So I am not totally clear on which report or sets of reports this is running in, but regardless of that, both types of reports, you should see all of the users. I would make sure that your filters are turned off. The other thing is that you saw when Kevin was doing the date filters in the advanced reports, you do have to click apply after you do the filter itself. So make sure that when you go into the filter in advanced reports, you click apply. So make sure there's checkbox next to both statuses and then click apply. That should show you everyone. If for some reason you think someone's missing, then certainly let us know. We can figure out what's going on. But that shouldn't be the case. I haven't heard any issues with that, so we should be good. But we're happy to run through that if you have any questions. If you have a quiz with 4 questions, do you have to make each question worth 25 points? No, definitely not. So if you have a quiz and all of your questions are of equal value
Yeah, if they should be weighed the same,
yeah,
then you don't have to modify the number of points per question.
correct.
You only have to modify the number of points per question if you want one question weighed more heavily than another. So for example, if you have a question that you want to be twice as important or matter twice as much as another, then you can give that, question 20 points versus the other's 10. So yeah, no need to modify the actual number of points that you're assigning a question.
Yeah, if you think of it this way, the final score for the course is the number of points they've earned out of the total available. So as our default is 10 points per question, if they get only one question right, they're going to earn 10 points. They're going to get a 25%. So you don't have to put 25 points on a question. It's still, 10 points out of 40 is 25%. So that's how it works. So don't waste your time changing the values if they're all equal to the same amount. So that's a little bit confusing, but sorry if you've been spending time on that. Is it possible to generate a report for a catalog in order to determine whether a particular trainee has completed all courses within a particular catalog, considering an invite is not sent for each course in the catalog?
So catalog reporting isn't available, but if you're looking to see how a specific trainee, has performed or whether specific trainee has completed all the courses within a particular catalog, I would recommend going to the trainees tab in your advanced reports because that's where you can pull a full transcript of all the courses a specific trainee has completed. Hopefully that answers your question.
The other thing I'll say on that is that you may want to really think about whether or not catalog is the right use, and you shouldn't use series instead. A series is a grouping of courses that you want them to complete them all. A catalog would be for people to just go and browse and sign up for what they want. So it's kind of a means of presenting courses to people, but not really a grouping of courses. So that may be right for your scenario, and certainly there are a lot of different use cases, but it's not necessarily a tool for running reports the way Mindflash is built. So we're happy to talk to you about whether or not series would be a better option for you, but that may be something you want to explore. On the user screen, why is groups the only column that I can't sort by? Is this ever going to be a feature? So that's unlikely to be a feature, and the reason for that is that groups are not exclusive. So a user could be a member of multiple groups, and so we don't know which group to sort by. And it's sort of a database issue, but if you have, I don't know, Ken, do you have any people that are members of both? Yeah, so you've got like the person that's in Panama City and they're in sales. So you can't sort by that because if you were, they wouldn't show up in the sales section once you sort. So in this situation, there's a couple of things you may want to do. First of all, in the advanced filters, you can filter by group membership. So you could say to people that are in the Panama City group and are in the group sales or are in the group sales. So you have options there in terms of what you see. So one of those combinations would probably be appropriate for what you're looking for. The same goes when you're enrolling people in courses. You can use those filters to filter down to the list and then mass enroll. So if that's what you're driving at, that's a possibility there. The other thing is that you can export these reports for the courses, the live, and the series. You can't do it on the users yet. That is a feature that is coming. But once you can do it there, then you could export and filter that way if there was a way that you could make it work in terms of filtering. But in terms of the actual grid itself, it is unlikely that you'll be able to do that for that reason. And I realize that this may not be obvious to those of you that don't use groups as extensively, but a lot of people use many groups across their trainees. So a trainee could be in like 15 different groups, and that's where it gets really, really crazy. On the report tab, what date is the date range pulling from? Invited or completed? Do you know the answer to that? I believe.
No, okay. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah.
referring to the date filter on, yeah. So that I believe is invited. Is that?
Why don't we do this? I am not 100% certain before I answer that question. I apologize for not knowing that answer. But let us get that answer and put that in the email that we send as a follow-up to this this webinar, because I recognize that is a very important piece of information that I don't know off the top of my head. But we will get that to you and put it in the email that we send out to everyone, just so it's definitive. The other thing is we'll add that to a Help Center topic in the Help Center, just so that we have a good accounting of that. I apologize if that's not as clear as it should be. If a trainee is reset on a course that he previously passed, can he be dropped from the reset and still have the past attempts reflect the reporting? No, that's not possible. So whenever someone is dropped from a course, it just blows them out of all reporting. So as if the person was never part of that course. So it won't show you the past attempts or anything like that. Trying to think through what that scenario might be, but I'm sure there's a great reason for that that's escaping me right now. So I was trying to think of alternatives, but I'm not coming up with much for you. But when you drop someone from a course, they're out and there's no reporting. So hopefully that will help inform that. If there's more information around that, kind of what you're trying to do, feel free to reach out and we can get that straightened out for you. If an employee has to take the same course again, how do I send an invite to make sure that past course detail is maintained, and where can I view historical course details? Okay, so the quick answer to this is that you currently can't. When you re-invite someone, it won't show you right in the screen what their history was. As we saw with that user that Kevin showed, you can go in and see the history for each of the users. I'm not sure that fits the scenario that you're talking about. What it sounds like you're asking is, like, if I have an annual safety training that I have to know that every one of my users has taken every single year, I want to invite them in 2016, and then I want to re-invite them in 2017 and have a record of that. That is not a function that we have currently. It is something that is on our roadmap, and I would look for, I think, early next year, or certainly in 2017, but that is on our roadmap, something that we're working on. We don't have a great function for it now. What I would recommend you do for the time being is, if you create a second course, so you have your 2016 course, you have your 2017 course, using our advanced filters, you can go in and filter to the people that took the course during a certain time period, get that filtered list of people, select them, and enroll them in the new course. And that would move them into the 2017 course. So that would give you a record of, like, what they took in 2017, and you'd still have the record from 2016. So one more step than I would like you to have to do, so that's why we're building that functionality at some point here. But for the time being, that's kind of your best option.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly show you where you would go to copy a course. You know, I've definitely walked plenty of my customers through how to do what I think Jason just described. You know, so for example, this 7 Laws of Customer Success course, this is a course that needs to be offered every year. You know, you can title this one, of course, 2016, and then go ahead and copy it, and then title the copy 2017. So just so you know.
Yeah, good point. That makes it really easy to just copy it over. Okay, I'm very new to Mindflash. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I know this question may have been asked, but what does active mean versus archived? Good question. So that is a basic tenet of Mindflash, so I'm glad you asked if you were not aware. So the difference between an active user and an archived user is that an active user at a very basic level can log into the system. An archived user cannot log into the system. The sort of subtle, important things to note is that you retain all your reporting rights over archived users. So if a scenario where you would use this, someone has left the company, and I want to keep all the information that says that they did all their OSHA training, so if there's ever an issue, I have all of that, but I don't want them to be able to log in and take more courses or to do anything else. I just move them to an archived status. I would retain all of that information, so if I ever need to, I can report on it. but they can't log in anymore. The other thing that kind of drives off our archive or active users is the limits on the number of users you can have in your account only apply to active users. That's really important for a couple of reasons. One is that, if you have people that go away and, they're never going to come back and take training, we don't ding you on that. You still retain all the reporting. It's also really important in the context of other systems that are out there. If you ever think that you want to move on from Mindflash or you've thought about other options, not everyone allows you to do that. So they may give you, an extra 100 users, but when you delete people, they truly disappear from the system. You can never report on them again. So something to keep in mind. You probably want to move people that you don't anticipate are going to log into an archived status. You can do that in bulk using the advanced filters. So if you can figure out, like, all people in this group are no longer going to use Mindflash anymore, you can just mass archive them. Or you can just go and periodically clean it up, whatever you want to do. Some people never archive, and it's no big deal, just depending on what the system or how they run the system. But that's basically what you're looking for, is whether or not you need them to log in again, and whether or not they occupy a seat. And then again, you can filter archived and active people out of your reports, your views, all that stuff. So if you don't ever want to see them again, you can just apply a active only to one of the filters, and you'll never see those people again because everything's persistent as you go through the live reports. How come it says the date something is completed, but it says completion 0? So I think the example that was bringing up was like that user that we pulled. As I mentioned, that function began recording after or as of a month and a half ago when we released it. So if you have people that completed before that, or they completed multiple times before that, we actually just don't know how many times they completed it. So you may see some slightly funky data in there for a little while as you build up your history. But from that from the release when we started recording that function, and there are release notes in the Help Center, so if you want to go back and see when we released that specific date, you can. But from that point forward, it would record that. So if I had completed the course 4 times at this point, and I'd done it since the release, it would say 4 in there. So sorry if that was a little confusing. We didn't have an example on hand. I don't think we were ready to to show that. That wasn't what we were planning on showing. What if the completion history does not show below then when you open up the training details? Is there any way to enable that? So again, if it's not showing below, that means that any history that was done prior to our release of that feature. Anything that was done after that release will show up underneath. And if you need a run through on any of that stuff, just let us know. We know that was a very sought after feature. So my guess is there are a lot of people that are looking to use that, and certainly if there's any confusion around that, please let us know. Not only so we can straighten it up, but also so that we might be able to address that in the future to make it easier for people to use. Do you expect to add custom fields for courses, such as so we can add a category? Yes, I don't know any specifics around release of that, but yes, that is absolutely something that we've talked about. That is often brought up in the context of I only want to see, this group of 10 courses, and how can I do that? We definitely recognize that as these programs get bigger, we see some of our customers have in the hundreds of courses, and if you've got 350 courses, wading through them and figuring out the exact one you want to work on can be a bit of a nightmare. So we are aware of that. We are working on a solution for organization of the courses, and hopefully we'll have something before too long. Is there a reporting field to differentiate attendees who are invited versus those who access the training through a public course link? I don't think we designate on that.
Yeah, I am not aware of.
That's a good question.
But that is good. Yeah, it would be very interesting for us to learn, why you're interested in that information.
Well, not only from like why you want the data, but I'd also be interested to know the kind of scenario you're using for why you're posting as a public link and inviting people.
Right, exactly.
That is a scenario that I actually have not run across.
Same, yeah, same.
So
we
would
be very interested in hearing, yeah, your specific use case and how, yeah, why there are courses that are available publicly and invited.
One thing that I wanted to mention as we're on the subject of public versus private courses, I see an awful lot of public courses out there for people that are doing like internal training or sensitive training on sensitive information. We definitely discourage that. Public course literally means it's a public course and people can sign up if they have the link. So if you're doing any sort of proprietary training or information that you just don't want anyone outside of your company or your customers or your partners or whatever to get, it should probably be a private course. And we're happy to talk through how that works and what's the right scenario for your situation. There are obviously lots of scenarios where public courses are appropriate, but make sure you think about that before you make a course public, because the last thing we want for you to have happen is set a course to public and then just have people strolling in and taking it and you being disappointed down the road that important information is out. Okay, if a series is marked as employee can retake themselves, is there a way to cancel the retake and just have the original score? No, that's a decision that you're effectively making of whether or not you allow them to retake. And so there's no way to sort of override that for individuals or even roll back. If that's turned on, then they can retake it. So again, that's one of those settings that I think you really want to think about, both for a series and for your courses. Do you really want them to retake it? And if you do, great. You certainly have a history in there for the courses of previous attempts, but definitely something to think through before you just blow it out there. I'm brand new to Mindflash and I've learned so much today. Great. Thanks for joining. I hadn't read that comment. That wasn't just praising Kevin. So good job, Kevin, by the way. But I hadn't read ahead. If an employee has to take some course again, how do I send an invite? You want to show like the retake function?
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll just walk you through that. So yeah, for example, if this Kevin Shu needs to retake this course, simply check the checkbox next to his name and then just reset him. So when you hit reset, he will receive an invitation to the course again, and it will appear as the original invitation. So
can you actually demonstrate while we're going through sort of the functions of all of our advanced filters? If you go to the users, can you show how you perform a bulk action for like
sure.
resetting people?
Okay, so I'll just select 3 trainees.
Well, let's filter to like people.
Oh, okay.
So the power of what we've built here is that it allows you to take these filters and find the people that meet a certain criteria. So in this case, they're in a specific group.
Yeah, so all the Kevin Shu's on my demo account.
Yeah, so he's found all the people that are in this group. And then you'll notice that he's clicked the button in the top left-hand corner that selected all of them, or you could do just individuals if you want, in any random order. But he's selected the select all, which is in the top left-hand corner there. And then you notice these buttons appear on the right-hand, or on the top, on the right, that have different functions. So you've got invite, you've got manage. So if you wanted to, you could just say take all the Kevin Shu's and invite them to course X.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. The other function it has here is the ability to perform actions or functions on these people. So if you go to the, close out this one.
Oh.
So that's if he was going to invite people to a specific course. And then if you go to manage, you can see that it's taken these 12 people that it is, and now he's got a list of all these courses that these people are enrolled in, and there's tabs across the top, so there's a bunch of different functions you can do. But if we wanted to reset the people that had failed, we could select the one course that has people that have failed, or we could select all, whatever. And then you notice there's a button on the right-hand side here to actions. He clicks on that, and he's given an option of what those actions are. And he could reset these people. He could drop these people. He could remind them.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and remind them.
So all these people have been reminded.
Complete this training. Yep.
They were invited. So there's a bunch of different scenarios here where this could be useful, but if you have to do something to a lot of people across multiple courses or series or whatever, this is how you would do it. And this is where the power of the filters and like, it's kind of an extension of our reporting, but there's a lot of power in there, especially for bigger programs. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and this is a pretty dramatic improvement. Like I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with how Mindflash used to work, but the fact that you can take these bulk actions across a number of users in a number of courses is huge. So
yeah. So we're getting to the end of our question list. So if you do have any final questions, please send them in now. We'll wrap this up relatively shortly. But we have another question here. What is the live icon that is showing on your dashboard below courses? You want to talk through that?
Yeah. So the live icon is our live training feature. So we have a lot of customers who not only offer online training using Mindflash, but also have in-person training that they offer. And this is just a feature that would allow you to track the live training that you offer on Mindflash. So for example, if you have trainees who are taking online courses but also have in-person classroom training, you can then mark them as having completed in-person classroom training and then have it appear in your advanced reports or in the reporting that's available here, the new reporting that's available on Mindflash. So that's what that live training is. That is a feature that's only available on our Pro tier, so that is why you may not be familiar with it. But yeah, plenty of Mindflash customers do, of course, in-person training on top of the online training. So that's what that feature is used for.
The other thing on the live training is it can be part of a series. So the greatest example I've ever seen of this, or my favorite example, was we have a police department that uses us, and they actually do their taser training via Mindflash. They track all of it. So the taser training, as you can imagine, has two parts. They have an online course where they actually go in and learn how it all works and do all that sort of stuff. But before they hand tasers out to people, they have a practical training where they actually have to, prove that they know how to use it and understand the safety. So that part obviously is in person or in a classroom setting. So they actually can take their online portion. So this is put together as a series. They have the online portion and then they have the live training portion. So they can take their online portion when they're in their cars, pulled over on the side of the road because they have internet connection. They actually can do it there in their downtime. And then they periodically have these live trainings where they come in and do the safety training or the practical part of the training. So they have it joined as a series, and when you complete the online training, then you can do the actual practical training, and they track it that way. So that's the scenario where that works really well, and you can upload a score and all that stuff.
Yeah, and another scenario that I wanted to mention is I definitely have customers who use the Mindflash quizzing features or quizzing on top of the live training. So for example, if you have an in-person classroom training, but you want a quiz or a test or some testing to be given to those who attended it live, you can add a course with just a single quiz in a live training in a series, and then you could capture all that information.
Sure. Yeah, so there's a lot of flexibility there. And it kind of just depends on the scenario you have. Okay, so are you able to incorporate GoToMeeting or webinar into Mindflash and include the attendance into the reporting? So there is no native function in Mindflash to hook up to like GoToMeeting or WebEx or any of those. That is something that we are looking at doing, though I should warn you, it's not immediate roadmap, so it's not coming in the next couple of months. It's not something we're currently working on. But it's definitely something we're aware of and would like to do down the road. What I would recommend in the short term is reach out to your customer success manager and ask them about this. They're using our integration with Zapier, which we just announced a few weeks ago. There is a possibility that your scenario will work using that integration as sort of an intermediary to Mindflash. It won't work in 100% of the cases, so I don't want to just say yes across the board, it will totally work. But if we have a chat and you describe to us what you're looking to do and we can talk through the example, there's a possibility that will work for you. So just hit up your CSM. For the person that asked this, I believe your CSM is Lisa. But if you just hit her up, she can schedule a time. We can talk through exactly how it would work for you.
And I just want to mention, if you include a GoToMeeting webinar registration link as a hyperlink in a PowerPoint and upload that to Mindflash, your trainees can click on that link and access the webinar within a Mindflash course. So keep that in mind also. I definitely have customers who take advantage of that feature of Mindflash.
So I think this is our last question, and it's a rehash of a previous one, so I'm going to drop off. But the question is whether or not someone who resets a course and that they previously passed, can you drop it and have the reset work? No, it doesn't work that way. If you drop someone from a course, they'll just be booted entirely. So it doesn't just drop their last attempt, it drops them entirely from the course. So that scenario will not work. One thing that I sort of cautioned on before is if you're going to turn on the reset function, you should really think about whether or not you want people to be able to reset themselves. You can always do it even if you don't have it turned on for trainees to reset themselves. As the admin, you can reset them, regardless of whether that's on. So you still have that power, but you should really think about whether or not you want them to be able to do that if there's a scenario where that's a problem. Okay, I think that will bring our questions to a close.
All right. Again, thank you all for joining. I think this is a great webinar. I hope you learned a ton of valuable information. Yeah, again, feel free to reach out to Help in Mindflash or to your CSMs if you have any specific questions. For those of you who asked questions that we couldn't answer or we need to get back to you on, yeah, you can expect to hear from us. And happy training.
Yeah, if there's anything that anyone wants to see for future topics, of things for us to run through or whatever, just hit us up. You'll see more webinars from us in the future. So we're always looking for topics that are of interest to people. We have been getting a ton of people coming to our webinars, so we're fired up about that, but we want to really deliver good quality content to you guys. So just let us know and we can go through it.
Yeah, thanks. Great. Thanks.